Welcome back, my nerds. Episode 12. We are here. Zach, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Good. I don't know if you can see, I don't have an Elgato symbol under my camera. I actually finally got it fixed. When we were doing episode, I think, 10 and 11, I had issues with my... I always have technical issues when we go to record. Like, it's never... I could do whatever, like,
you could practice record, you could do gaming channel stuff. Anytime, it's fine. The second you click record, it's like, there it goes.
There it is, yep.
It's
and
the
so,
way
like,
of the world.
I get in crunch time, and then I'm like, oh, what can I do? So I make executive changes really quick on a fly, and then I'm like, when it goes to edit, it's not as the same as what it's been doing. So I finally fixed it. You know, I love my Mac, but there's one thing about it is that, like, it has so many security things for it that, like, if I click the wrong button, then it's like default everything not authorized.
Shut it down.
Yeah. So then I have to, like, go into my settings and fix it all. So I'm like, God damn it. But I got it fixed, so we're back.
I really need to use the for Christmas. I think Shane got me like a really nice webcam so that when we record, I have a much clearer thing, and all I have to do is install it, and I haven't done it because I have ADD. And I'm a piece of shit.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So, there's a little bit of news out there for us nerds. The first thing I thought that, you know, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, as we've all said on here before. There's supposedly a Gollum show coming out. Me being a Lord of the Rings fan, I don't know how I feel about a straight-up just Gollum show.
So is it like pre-Gollum? Like, what's his? Doesn't he have like an actual name that's not Gollum? Smeagol. Is it like a Smeagol series, or is it like the evolution from Smeagol to Gollum?
I think it. So I literally skimmed over it because like,
just
I was kind of
homework for a podcast.
Yeah, but I mean. From what it looks like he still has like a lot of hair, so he looks like Gollum himself. He doesn't look like Smeagol.
Okay.
And from what I read,
he looks less Gollum than Gollum because he's got more hair.
No. Yeah,
I just picture like Gollum with like a really nice like fade on top, you know?
He literally looks like he's wearing a toupee. He's got like a part over.
I'm good and talk.
Yeah, and from what I read, it's like it's supposed to follow his journey on trying to find the ring, ring that's been taken to him, and they call it the precious. They like him trying to find the precious, and I'm like, okay, I understand the concept of what you're doing, which is cool if they throw in some like well-named characters throughout his journey and trying to find it, but I also don't know like how much like depth you can really go with a character that just like.
All right. So I have found an article on the website, on the internet, but it is on the website. This is Lord of the Rings Gollum trailer, but it is a video game.
Okay.
Which explains more. Oh, I see the hair. It just looks like a young cursed. It's like take the oldest thing you know and then make it a teenager, but still make it look like the oldest thing you know.
You see what I'm saying? Where it's like parted and like.
Okay, so like I get it. I get what's happening, but I hate the dynamic a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm wrong. Okay, I should have probably read more in depth with the article.
That's fine. We're learning on the fly.
Yeah. So a game. I still don't think I would play the game either.
Yeah. The problem is that like he's not necessarily like a main character.
He's definitely a supporting character.
He's definitely like so like okay, I don't know. I'm torn because like as a Harry Potter fan, I feel like they're like Hogwarts Legacy does a great job of kind of diving into the lore of the series. Fans of Harry Potter have talked about how they would love like a Founders, like a Hogwarts Founders series, the Marauders series, stuff like that, because it kind of like takes characters that have kind of been to the side and like fleshes out the universe a little bit more. So it's harder because for Lord of the Rings, it's not that I'm against that style of doing things. I just don't know if Gollum is the character I would have led with. Like Like, give me like an Aragorn's early war years, or there's a lot of characters like from the Fellowship that you could really like dive into, and that they've got like grand heroic stories, and it's like, I mean, again, I'll go back and I'll watch this trailer and everything. I think a game is definitely better than a series for sure. Yeah.
I would have loved like a Gandalf series, you know, Gandalf coming to Middle Earth for the first time and him like going on his adventures. That'd be cool.
That'd
but
be
like
pretty
also
cool.
Yeah, also a game though with Gollum is like you're really just gonna be creeping around all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot of stealth. It's not like you're gonna go out and be like, oh, cool, I'm going, you know, again, I keep using Hogwarts Legacy because it's forever part of my soul now. It is the Horcrux that lives in all of us. With Hogwarts Legacy, you can go stealth mode and be like, cool, I'm gonna be stealthy and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. But like sometimes I'm like, I am the Reaper of Death, fear me, and I just walk in and destroy people. I don't feel like Gollum's got that in him, you know? No. Like he'll just and they're like, get off me.
Yeah, he's definitely a stealth assassin, not more of like he's gonna kill you in your sleep type of thing. Yeah, he's gonna kill you in your sleep type of thing, not like, hey.
But you never know. This is young Gollum. He's got some hair, you know. So
That's
maybe he's got the biceps popping too.
Maybe, you know. He's not as frail because he hasn't had the ring lost from him as long. So.
Right? He's only partly decayed, so he'll be fine. He could definitely hold his own against giant trolls and stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, a game, yeah. Oh. All right, I'm not gonna try to prejudge. I'm gonna wait for it to come out.
Yeah, I'm the same. I am not. I'm the kind of person who's like, hey, let's wait and give it a chance. I don't like to shit on things before they come out. I don't like to shame things or say that it's going to be bad. Sometimes I can see them coming, but I still try to keep an open mind. But yeah, we'll keep an open mind. It'll be a good game, probably.
Honestly, did you ever play the Two Towers or Return of the King games on the PS2?
I threw out movie games a long time ago because...
Oh, really?
I have, I think, 1 or 2 times ever played a game that was like a movie-turned game where it turned out well. And I can't really remember what they are. I just remember that there was at least one that I was like, why was this so hard?
Yeah, so I loved Two Towers, especially the game. Return of the King was just as good, too, because that's when you could play with two people at the same time at the point. And the mechanics of that was actually pretty good. I remember that game being pretty legit. And you could essentially, like, you could pick whoever you wanted through the storyline. Like, you could be Gimli, or you could be Legolas, or you could be Aragorn, and, like, level them up throughout the missions and quests. And then, like, he could build his, like, skill tree and stuff. And I remember being Legolas and having the 2 daggers, and then being able to like whip out my bow real quick and like just start murking Urukai with the bow. And like as you upgrade the bow, it could give like special like powers on it, which is weird because it's not in the movies or in the book. But it was just cool concept. It was a cool concept, and it was ridiculously hard.
Sometimes they throw things into a series that like don't exist in the movies, and I'm like, yeah. But a cool magical bow does sound pretty fun.
Yeah, I remember getting to Helm's Deep, the ending of the game. I remember getting to Helm's Deep and just couldn't beat it because of how hard it was.
Like, and you just did you ever beat it, or did you just put it down and you were like,
I just stopped playing. Yeah, I was like,
you know what? You don't control me, game. I had a good time. I don't need the ending.
Yeah, I was like, fuck this. I know how it ends. I was like, but it was like, I just remember like hordes and hordes of Urukai all the time. I'm like, this is overwhelming as fuck.
The worst part is that like, even though you are probably a better gamer now, to go back, even if you could pick up at that last battle, like there is a muscle memory to games that is important, and like you can't just, most people can't just like pick up a controller 12 years later and be like, all right, we're finishing this off.
Yeah.
So you would have to like replay, you'd have to just start over pretty much.
Yeah, I might have like PTSD and like suck so bad. like right now, I made a comment on you'll see on the new video of Roll4NerdyCheck Gaming when playing through the campaign of Modern Warfare 2, the new remake,
Mm-hmm.
and
Modern
I'm playing
Warfare
on veteran
2 again.
Yeah, I'm playing. Which honestly, in my point, the old ones are great. They're cult. They're a great classic. But these new ones are pretty legit. I liked how they did it. But I'm playing on veteran, and I forgot why. I got so mad at Call of Duty. I'm playing
Call of Duty is infuriating. Like, I'll admit, I am not currently, nor I had like a window of shooter games that I did when I was like 20-ish to like 24-ish. Like, it was a good streak. But like the thing about shooters is that they're just all the same, and thus people who like play shooter games, when they transition into a new game, they carry all those skills over. And so like me, who I'm like, oh man, I haven't dabbled in a shooter in a while. Let me hop on. Immediate death. Like, oh my. All right. So here's a fun question we can talk about nerdy stuff wise. Let's talk about games that have like a bar of entry, so to speak. So like, with games like again Hogwarts Legacy, with games like Hogwarts Legacy or Skyrim or God of War or any of these like big Last of Us, big franchise games, you can really just kind of pick up and play them. There's usually some kind of tutorial mode, but like you can just kind of hop in and do your thing. Now I understand with Call of Duty and stuff like that, there's some differences because it's an online game and you're playing against real people who have really developed skills. But what are some games you've played where you hopped in and then hopped right out? Where you hopped in, played for like, as you know, you gave it the old college try, and you were like, nope, I can't. I'm out. There are better things I can do with my time.
So it's funny you say that because with the gaming channel, I was actually gonna play. I was playing Hogwarts Legacy for a while. I'm still but I'm giving it a break for now because I don't want to make it stale. You know, I don't want to make it stale. I want to make it interesting and make it fun, but also have some variety, right? So I was like, okay, one of the video games you probably heard me say and preach about was Monster Hunter Rise a lot.
I've heard good things.
So I said, yep. So I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna jump right in. I already had it downloaded. I was like, gonna jump in and record it, be playing it. So it's beautiful. I love the artistic style of the game. It's pretty. It kind of reminds me of the Destiny Warrior games, type of cartoon style.
It always gives me. This is a throwback. So, did you ever play Dark Cloud or Dark Cloud 2? Excuse me.
Dark Cloud. Yes. I did. Yep.
Yeah, it was like an old PS2 RPG dungeon crawler with. The second one had some like world building aspects as well, which was I love it. It's one of my favorite. To me, it is a fundamental RPG, one of the ones that, even though it doesn't get as much recognition, I think really paved the way for future dungeon crawlers and future world builders. Fantastic series. Dark Cloud 1 was really great, had about 6 characters. Dark Cloud 2 had 2 characters. The like main theme is like something came in, sucked up your entire town, and then put them in these little orbs, and then you go into the dungeon, fight through the dungeon, get the orbs, put them back. But like as you're putting stuff back, the townspeople will be like, I've always wanted to see the sunset from my living room, and I never got that before. Could you face my house east, or face it west for the sunset? And you're like, sure. And then like one neighbor will be like, my old neighbor Billy Bob is a piece of shit, and I hate being next to him. Could you maybe move my house away from him? So I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. And then with the second one, it was more of like a time thing, where it was like somebody comes from the future and is like, hey, similar thing happens, but they're like, hey, you have to fix it in the past so that the future turns out the way it's supposed to. So like you would build like you have to put this tree here so that in 500 years the tree becomes this like full-blown thing that becomes a thing. It was very cool. It was very fun. But the art style, I've always really liked the art style on the game, and it kind of gives me that like old school, not dungeon crawling, but just kind of like the thick of it. You're in the woods. Anyway.
Yeah.
Shout out to
so
if you want to sponsor
crazy,
us.
It'd be cool if they remade it though.
I want them to do a Dark Cloud, Dark Cloud 3, and just kind of you can reboot the franchise, but remaster
if anybody out there, Remaster 1 and 2.
Yeah, remaster 1 and 2 and then drop a 3.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I'm going through this game, and, like, create my character. You also get, like, 2 companions with you, like a dog and a cat. So you get to create make them personable to you, what you would like your dog or cat to look like. And they're kind of like, they're not just dog or cats. Like, the dog can hold a dagger in his mouth and attack and stuff like that. And the cat, the cat can actually hold a sword.
The, like, legendary Pokemon.
Yeah, so, but what was crazy about this, like, as you're going through the game, like, from the beginning, I mean, like, straight up beginning, they're like, oh, you can do this. I'm like, okay, got it. And then like, oh, but you can also do this and this. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, if you hit this button and then that button together, then you can do this and that. I'm like, okay, you're okay. Let's slow it down a little bit. And they're like, okay, also, if you do this move and then into this and then you do this technique, then you do this. I'm like, oh my god. I was like, my brain is already fried, and I'm only 2 minutes into this game. So, like, literally, I finally was, like, just itching to get to the quest. And I finally got on the quest, and then you learn more shit that you can do. And
it's like the tutorial quest, where it's like, here's the tutorial, and then here's a quest where we're going to keep tutorialing you.
Yeah. I was like, and then it kept, like, teaching me more things, and I'm like, I couldn't remember step 1. Because there were so many steps ahead.
Here's the deal. I skipped everything you said because I really just wanted to play the game. And now I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm stuck in the tutorial.
It was like with me having ADD, right? I can't get too overstimulated, or I will just zone out and just like be like, boop, gone.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're playing a video game as someone with ADHD, you just kind of want to jump into it. And you're like, look, I've been playing video games for 47 years. I know exactly what I'm doing. Please get out of my way. And then they're like, cool, well, go ahead and use your reflex skill just to make sure we got, the worst is when you get, like, this happened to me in Hogwarts Legacy. My comprehension, as someone with ADD, my comprehension is not there. So, like, it's not that I can't do it. It's that, especially when I'm like chilling and playing video games, I'm like, what is this, homework? Get out of my way. So, like, I was playing Hogwarts Legacy the first time through, and when they first drop the like stone statues for you to fight, and they're like, cool, you just need to reflect their attacks back at them. And I was just, for like no joke, probably 10 minutes, I was just like, why won't they stop coming? And then eventually my wife had to be like, are you using the reflect skill? And I was like, no, why would I can kill them on my own. And she was like, because it says reflect this thing 5 times to move on. And I was like, oh. I just didn't, because I was like, why would I reflect? I can just dodge and blow them up with my magic.
Yeah. And that was the thing, is like I started reading everything, right? Every tutorial that they were talking about, I read it all, and like I was like, okay, cool. I was like, but like after 10 tasks in, I was like, okay, I think I remember those 10 tasks. Okay, finally on the mission. And then the guy's like, hey, I know you just learned 10 things off the bat, but we're going to learn 10 more. And I'm like, holy shit. I was like, I just started feeling really overwhelmed and had like a little bit of anxiety just starting this game.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what happened to the whole, like, okay, maybe it's just me, and there's other people out there that love this game, love Monster Hunter. Not that I have anything against the game. It looks great. The concept of it's awesome.
No, yeah.
But
I think it's pretty undisputed that like it's a really good game, but that doesn't mean it is a really good game for you.
Exactly. So yeah, it makes sense. And what happened to the whole aspect of like Hogwarts Legacy does it great, where they're like, hey, we're gonna teach you one spell, and it's called Revelio, and then okay, after you do that, then we're gonna teach you how to shoot magic out of your wand. Done? Got it. Okay, now we're just gonna let you know how to deflect stuff, because those are the 2 main things you need to know.
Apparently, and then after that's tough for some people, so maybe you could just go a little easy, okay? Maybe don't be so judgy about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but if you were to, like, Lily, if you were to play Monster Hunter and they're like, hey, you need to know this, this, and this, this, and this, and this, and go down a fucking tier list of everything you need to know off the bat, you'd be like, I just literally press the X button on my little Xbox button on my controller. So
I hit X and up?
Quit,
Will it do something different?
Yeah, I was like, quit, please. And just started playing something else. I was like, I can't do this.
Did you do that on the gaming stream where you were like,
I literally was recording for like 30 minutes and then just like deleted it. I was like, I can't.
At least you weren't live. That would have been fucking great if you're like, all right, fam, so I am too dumb to play this game. I am going. Not that you're dumb. I don't want you to think I think you're dumb. But it's how it feels. Where you're like,
that's
okay,
no, it's exactly what I was saying to myself. I was like, I'm stupid. I was like, I am stupid. I can't do this. I was like, let me go back to either shooting people in the face or killing people with spells.
Whereas Call of Duty's like, here's your gun, press the trigger button, have fun.
Yeah. Where I kind of want to take a break from, I did one part of Call of Duty, and I played a veteran, and I'm just getting murked. Like, I just got humbled so bad, because I was like, I remember being really good at this game. And then all of a sudden, I get back into playing on the hardest mode you can, and just getting straight up murked. I'm getting pissed. So I was like, okay, I already did one part of that, so I kind of want to take a break from that and try to enjoy something. And then I jumped into that, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I can't do this.
Dude, it's so funny because like I don't know. So I'm gonna go on a small nerd. This is a nerd podcast. Let's talk about nerdy shit. Easy mode. Let's talk about it because a lot of people like to shame people for easy mode. Yeah, which I think is bullshit. So here's the thing: it was implemented in me. I have plenty of nerdy friends who will still to this day be like, "You're playing on easy mode, bro." Here's what happened. I was playing a game on either medium or hard, legendary, whatever the equivalent is. Mm-hmm. I'm playing it, and I'm just like, I can't get past this one spot. I keep getting jammed up, and I'm like starting to fucking rage quit. We've all been there. Yeah. We've all been there. Yeah. This is probably a year into my marriage, so like, relatively early in our relationship. So for those who don't know, me and my wife got engaged fairly early. Then we had a long engagement. Then we got married. So. Yep. And it's worked out great. She's the love of my life, and I love her to death. And when you know, you know. But we were playing, and I was in the living room playing, and she was like hovering around me as she'll like do stuff as I'm playing, or she'll watch me play depending on like how busy she is. And so she was like doing homework or whatever, and and she goes, I'm just starting to be like, God damn it! Like I don't know. We have the explicit up on the podcast, but like I'm throwing out the big boys of cuss words, and she just goes, "You can't be happy right now." And I was like, "What?" And of course, you're kind of mad. So you're like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, are you enjoying what's happening right now? And I was like, I love video games. And she was like, really? Because you seem really mad right now. And I was like, I am really mad right now. And she was like, okay, well, like, what is the payoff? And I'm like, eventually I'll get it, and I'll be super proud of myself for it. And she'll be like, okay, I hear you, but you're going to be mad for like an hour and a half to 2 hours until you beat this boss. And then you'll be happy for like 30 seconds, and then you'll move on to the next boss where you will immediately go back into rage mode. So like of the time you're playing, 80 to 85% of it right now is pure rage, like unfiltered, punching the table, rage, and then you're happy for like 2 minutes, and you're like, this is a great game, and I don't understand what's happening. She was like, why don't you just play on an easier mode so that you can just enjoy the story of what's happening? And like, life is hard. You don't have to make this hard. And I was like, but only bitches play on easy mode. And she was like, says who? And I was like, the internet. And she was like, well, that's a reliable source of information. And so I was like, all right, fine, I'll put it on easy mode. And I put it on easy mode, and I've never turned back, because she's right. As she always is, she's right. That like the enjoyment of video games is supposed to be escapism. So if hard mode is your thing, I'm not taking away from that. If that is how you enjoy playing games, then like, God bless. Especially for people who are just naturally gifted at games, and you can just jump right into hard mode, and it's your cup of tea. You enjoy the challenge, fine. I was not enjoying the challenge. I was told that's how you enjoy it. If you play on hard mode, that's an enjoyable experience, because then when you beat it, it's super satisfying. Except it wasn't super satisfying. It was the the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, except the rainbow was a hellscape.
You're using video games to escape from your normal life of like anxiety, and then you like play like the hardest mode ever, and you get even more anxiety. You're like fuck this, I'm love my life, and just like just start off.
And here's the thing: if you want to work like Hogwarts Legacy, I played the first time on medium difficulty, and I started the second character. I don't even think I set a difficulty. Sorry, I've got like water burps right now.
No, you're good, man.
I don't even remember setting the difficulty on that one, but I'm gonna bump it to hard just to see what it's like because I have now beaten the game on medium. I know how to handle the game on medium. I know the tricks, and I know the dodges, and I know the reflex, and I know all of the good stuff. So like, yeah, I'll probably bump it up. But if easy mode is your thing, play easy mode. Like I'm here to tell you as an adult male that there are going to be a lot of alpha bros who are going to be like, "Oh, you play on fucking easy mode? What a little bitch you are."
Right.
That and a cup of coffee, or wait, what? That and $5 will get you a cup of coffee. Like it's not worth the like. These guys, these like Call of Duty bros who are like, you have to play on epic difficulty the whole fucking time, or you're a little bitch. Those people are gonna have aneurysms and strokes when they're like 45 years old because their life has just been like nonstop stress.
Yeah. Hey, a quick question: Is your video out?
No. Is yours?
Yeah, it's all for you. It is.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I'm seeing you. It shows recording.
Okay, then it'll probably fine. It'll be fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So like, it's kind of funny you say that because I felt like, so when I was playing, Call of Duty, right? Same experience. So my wife's not used to me yelling, like in the house. Really
you and I are for the most part very gentle people. I don't yell that often. I don't scream that often. It takes a lot to get me worked up. So like I think that's why it was so jarring for her. So sorry, continue.
Yeah. So like I was like, all right, I'm gonna play on veteran and make it at least competitive and entertaining for people. So I was like, okay. So I'm down here getting murdered, dude, and I'm like, F this, dude. And like literally I go upstairs and I'm like smiling at him, and she's like, are you good? Like,
you're like, yeah,
are you okay? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I thought something like happened to you downstairs and I was gonna go running downstairs. And I was like, oh no, I'm fine. Yeah. She's like, what were you doing? I was like, just playing Call of Duty. She's like, okay. Like she had like this weirdest face.
She's like, maybe we could not do that anymore. Maybe you could go back to Skyrim or something. I've never heard you call someone a huge piece of shit and then slam the wall.
Yeah. Exactly.
When you were playing Skyrim.
So, like, I understand the concept of what you're saying. So, like, there are some games, like, I think just the main setting I stay on would be normal. Like, if it's just normal, if it was like easy, normal, hard, or hardened, whatever, I'll just be like normal. I actually want to test it out.
Yeah,
and then I'll play through the game.
I want to play it on a thing that challenges me but does not shut me down.
Yeah, exactly. Like I played. Me and my cousin Tyler, we play a lot of like the Dark Souls or Bloodborne games, and there's really no. From what I remember correctly, there's really no setting for difficulty.
There's not. It is difficult on purpose, and they've been asked during like press tours and stuff when promoting the game if they'll ever put in like an easy mode, because it literally filters out a portion of the audience. For example, I don't play the Dark Souls games or the Souls games, which is sad. I would love to, but I know that it taps into that rage quit, and I just don't have the time or energy or life energy to pour into a game that is designed to make me angry. Like, it's designed to make it's supposed to be difficult. It is supposed to make you angry. It is supposed to make you rage quit. And I just don't have it. What was the most recent one that was like developed with George R. R. Martin? Elden Rings. Yeah. Elden Ring. I wanted to play it, but then it was like, hey, it's going to be like a Souls game where it's going to be like ridiculously difficult. And I was like, here's the thing. It's not that I'm incapable of doing it, because I can. It would take me a while, but I would beat it. It's not that I don't have it. It's just that I don't. Look, adult life can be real hard sometimes.
We're giving a child. We're talking to a child now.
Listen to me, sir. This is the thing about having a nerdy podcast for 30-year-olds is that, like, I don't mean to exclude anyone younger, any of our younger audience. I'm just gonna give you a heads up that, like, sometimes you work a desk job that is frustrating and draining and can really just make you unhappy sometimes. Mm-hmm. There are days where I come home and I'm like, bleh. So I
have the other spectrum. I work a blue-collar job and fix shit.
Which is also really frustrating, because you can have people coming in and be like, hey, can't you fix this thing in 10 minutes? And you're like, that's a 5-hour thing that I have to work on. And they're like, great, well, we're not paying you overtime. Goodbye. Yeah. So, like, continue. It can be draining to be an adult. That 8 hours a day that I have to sink into a thing that I don't like doing, but it gives me money so that I can exist outside of that place. Yeah. I don't want to then come home and be like, cool, I would like to be unfathomably angry for 4 hours. Meanwhile, I also don't want to scare my wife. Like, there's nothing worse than when I'm like, piece of shit, I was there, this thing glitched out, I swear I hit the fucking button, and I'm like slamming things, and then I look over and my wife's like, are you having fun, honey? Like, it's just not my cup of tea. It's just not. So, like, I'm really sad that I'll never get to experience Elden Ring. I've heard it's an amazing game. I've heard it's got great story. I've heard it's well executed. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, Bloodborne was the last one I played, and I would say the one thing that Bloodborne did that made it better was that you could do an online community help. Like,
yeah, I think I heard about that. There will be like little drop spots where people can be like, hey, just so you know, roll a lot or whatever.
Yeah. So I'll give a shout out to my cousin who actually watches the podcast, and he helps us out. He is so much better at these games than I am. I'll give him a shout out. Tyler, you are better than me. Okay? There you go.
Tyler, you're better than me too. I don't know for sure, but like, if you're better than Shane, you're better than me.
So there'd be times where he's like 10 bosses ahead of me, and I'm like, God damn it, I can't kill this werewolf. And like, he's like, hold on. He's like, let me finish, let me save where I'm at, and I'll come join you. And like, you just ring these like lanterns and stuff like that, and we'll link up together. And then like, for me to progress in Bloodborne, I had to have the assist of another person. And my cousin, who's much better than me, he's like, no, don't dodge there. He's like, you got to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like, he's like literally sitting in the background coaching me. Like, I'm like in a Creed the boxing ring. Like, he's like Mick from Frog and Rock. He's like, no, Rock, don't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, just dodging this way. And like, once in a while, he would jump in depending on the boss and like help out. And it kind of sucked for him because, like, since he was a higher level, he kind of got nerfed, and he had to go down to my level, and, like, his skill tree or whatever he had wasn't as high as his. So, like, he had to build up back to what he was not used to before. And, like,
it's really hard to go backwards when you're level, like, 40 to go back to, like, level 12.
So, like, we would eventually beat the boss, and, like, I'd get farther. And like, I'd be like, thanks, man. And then he would go back to playing his, and I'd go back to playing mine, and just farther. Like, but like every time I would get to like a certain character, and just like not be able to beat it. So I would call him to help me out, and like he would help me out. Dude, it took me 6 months.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm surprised. That's not bad.
Just, it was just because of not that I sucked that bad. It's just like I couldn't contain my anger too much. Like I would get so mad that I would have to put down the game. And he could admit it. He could call me up and right now, and he'd be like, hey, man, how long did it take you to play Bloodborne? It took me this long because I would get mad and have to stop.
You have to stop. Because otherwise your controller's going through your TV screen. And, like, and that's the thing is, like, I feel like people who don't play video games or don't play, like, hard video games, like, if you're, like, a Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing person, first of all, shout out, love those games. But you don't understand the rage that can come with those kinds of games. And it's so funny because people will be like, why are you so mad? It's just a game. Why are you so mad? It's just like, don't let it bother you that much. And it is literally designed to make you mad like that. Like it's built to be super challenging, and it's especially in a game like the Souls games where it's like, don't you get like very few save points throughout the entire game? So like, if you get killed, you might be losing 4 or 5 hours worth of play data.
Right.
You know, it would be like resetting back to, I played for 5 hours and then at the end of the night I died, and so I lost all 5 hours. And so that whole day of gaming didn't actually matter for anything, which might bring you to the question, why do you enjoy that? To which I say, I don't know. I stopped playing those games. I agree with you. I stopped doing it for my mental health. I'll say this. There was one game that I've played within the last few years that I really just felt unwelcomed by the game. Like, it definitely felt like if you haven't been playing previous games, then it's just, there's no point in you playing, which was surprisingly NBA 2K22. I was so fun fact about me, I enjoy basketball, but basketball and I have this like lovers in the night where like I played like 2K12 and I enjoyed it, and then I played 2K14, I think. One of the two of those was like the Michael Jordan version, and I was like, I love me some Michael Jordan, some Bulls Jordan. So I played that one. I really enjoyed it. The storyline I'm a big if I'm going to play a sports game, I need a good create a player storyline, a campaign. For the record, also, since this is our nerdy podcast and we can talk about whatever nerdy things we want, shout out to the best sports game campaign, which is a game that is a sports game or a sports whatever, so basketball, baseball, whatever, campaign of all time is Tony Hawk Underground. Tony Hawk's Underground story mode is by far the most the storyline keeps me coming back to want to do more, which is like, you are a skate kid on the street, and then it's like, cool, send it. They're accepting tapes, so send in your tapes, and you might get to be like an amateur or a pro on a team. And then like your best friend films you doing this really crazy cool thing, and then he spoilers for this 20-year-old game.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he takes your tape and he sends it in, but because you can't see your face while you're doing this like really cool trick, he says it's him, and so he gets your like amateur / audition to be a pro. Like, you get invited to this competition to see if you qualify to be a pro, or if somebody wants to recruit you on their team to be a pro.
Right.
And so he takes your spot, and so then you have to like earn your spot, and then you get a spot on a team, and then it turns out that it's his team, and it becomes this like it's like frenemy situation where he's like, hey man, sorry, I was just blah blah blah, and you're like, yeah, whatever, screw you, man. And then he just like constantly tries to like outdo you and screw you out of, so he's always like, hey man, sorry, like, we're friends, and he's just the perfect little slimy shit. Eric, I remember his name. Fuck Eric. You, Eric. Shout out to Eric, you're a piece of shit.
I could tell the rage behind those eyes when he said Eric.
But Eric. Like that storyline is amazing. So anyway, same thing. If you're playing WWE 2K, or if you're playing NBA or FIFA or whatever, I want the experience I want out of my sports game, because I don't care about like guys will play Madden. To me, that's the same thing as Call of Duty. It's not that it's bad. It's just not my cup of tea. The sports game online thing is not my thing.
That's like, not to cut you off, but that's like, I play F1 since I love watching F1 racing. F1 racing, I can give it to them. Like, they give you a great story mode. Like, the one I played, yeah. So like, they had the 2021 version where you become like a F2 racer. So if you don't know, real quick, F1 goes from 3 different series: F3, F2, and F1. And you start out at karts when you're young. So like, you start out as an F2 racer, and your last race to win the championship, to get a spot in F1. Mm-hmm. So
it's kind of like the you're in the minor leagues. You start trying to get your foot in the door.
That's essentially what it is. It's like think of the MLB like through the ranks. You're pretty much working your ranks up to get to professional league. So long story short, you're like a new driver on your first team. you have to pick a selection team, and then like you pretty much are playing with an old guy, like an older guy on your team who just like who feels like he's going to retire but doesn't like getting the limelight taken away from him from a younger driver. Long story short, you end up being friends. But and the new game now is kind of like where you don't really have that, like you don't have a selected character for you. You get to create your own, and you can either be a manager or be the driver on the team. But yeah, I see what you're saying with the sports.
Like
sports
honestly,
games.
I will play games that I don't know the sports on if the story mode is good enough. Because like again, it's all video games. It's all video game mechanics and stuff like that. Yeah, like some are better than others. But yeah, so when I played 2K20, I'm sorry, 2K12 and 2K14, they were great. Decent story modes. Then I played 2K16 because I heard Spike Lee was directing the game, like the campaign, which I was like, oh, that's Spike Lee. Like, that's pretty cool. Played it. It was good. Dark, but good. I really like the experience of, like, look, as a normie, I'll never get to experience what it's like to be, in the college athlete thing, trying to get, a call up to the majors or whatever the case may be. If it's a WWE game, let's say you start on the NXT trying to get called up to the main roster. If you're playing F1, it all has the same vibe. But like, I like it. I as a slightly overweight 33-year-old white guy, my options for going pro in most things pretty limited at this point. But I love the experience. Totally. I'm going to watch out. I'm going to be the point guard for pick a sports team that is successful in the NBA. I don't really know. Here's the thing. I love basketball. But I don't follow basketball. Does that make sense? If it's on, I'm like, ooh, I love basketball. I like playing basketball. I like watching basketball. There's a basketball anime called Kuroko's Basketball. It's really great. You should go watch it. It's great. I love basketball. I just don't follow it. I would like to follow it to the point that I reached out to a bunch of my basketball friends and were like, cool, I need to pick a team, because without a team, you have to have something to like root for. And I've done this a couple times throughout the years and I never end up watching it. I should, but I don't. So I picked up 2K22 late last year. I think right around the time it dropped. And I picked it up because I was like, look, I love 2K12, I love 2K14, I love 2K16. It's been a while. I haven't played it. The basketball side of it it can be good, it can be bad, depending on how good you are, how smooth the things are. It varies from year to year. The storyline is usually either good or bad. One of the two. So I picked up the game. I forgot how heavily 2K especially for like NBA games and sports games have gotten microtransaction-y. It's literally you have to pay money on top of the money you've paid for the game if you want your character to be good. They'll say that's not true, but it's not. It's like, yes, I could go out and grind, but here's what was happening. I bought the game, went through the story mode. I don't want to play online. People online will destroy me because
there's people who dedicate their lives to this game.
And it's anger. It goes back to the anger thing, which is like you're playing, and if you're new, and if you're like, hey, I'm new to this franchise, I'm just trying to learn and play online and have a good time, like video games are supposed to be. And then you get online and people are like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're a piece of shit. Why would you pass the ball? You're fucking us up. And I'm like, that's not, I don't want to get screamed at because I'm new at a thing. So I just play the story mode and I'll, take my own team to the championship. I am an offline player. And even to just make your offline character better, you have to basically spend like, I forget what they're called, but we'll call them like NBA coins. You have to spend NBA coins to get your player better. And in order to get your player better, you need these coins. You get these coins one of several ways, which is A, completing games. The better you do in the game, the more coins you get. So if your team wins, if you have a certain number of assists or points, or how well your character did from defense to offense, they kind of accumulate everything together and they say you got 115 NBA coins. Okay. And then you can spend those coins to make your character better. The problem is your character starts dog shit. So you don't get many coins, and because your character is dog shit, your team usually also loses a lot. So you don't get as many coins. So instead of getting 150 coins, I'll get 45. Well, in order to take my character's shooting percentage from 68% to 70%, it's going to cost me 500 NBA coins. Well, shit, man, that's a lot of playing, especially when you're losing all the time, which is very frustrating.
Yeah.
So I'm not enjoying the experience because my character's throwing, I go to pass and it's stolen, or I go to shoot and it gets blocked, or it's just, you're just getting wrecked out there the whole time, which is really frustrating. Sure. Including like when I started, it was like, cool, here's your like tryout game to see how high you'll be drafted. So this should be like a relatively low bar. I got destroyed. I mean, I read, and I don't know if this is true, so take it with a grain of salt, but I looked up on the internet, and it was like, yeah, that first game you're playing against people who are like 90, their like player score is like 95 or 99 out of 100, and you're in there at like 60. So like,
you're not wrong.
And that's the first game. That is the like the bar that they're setting.
Sets you up for
like
failure.
Yeah, it's bad. The other way you can earn player coins is you can buy them with real money. I'm going to say U.S. American dollars because I am a U.S. American, but yeah, money. It takes real world money and you can buy coins. I am ashamed to say I spent 20 real world dollars on these NBA coins so that I was like, look, I'm an adult with adult money. So if spending an extra $20 gets me a happier experience, that's all I'm looking for. I just want to go out there and be the next Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Pick a person.
Yeah.
I spent $20 on top of the $60 I spent for this game.
Okay.
And it brought my character from a whopping 64 up to a massive 68. And I was like, are you shitting me? I looked it up. There was a guy on Reddit who was like, I bought this game, the deluxe edition, so it came with 1,000 NBA coins. And I then spent another $90 on NBA coins. So at this point, he's almost $200 in the bank.
Whoa.
And he was like, it brought my character from 60 to 79 because it gets exponentially harder. And the thing is, you're playing in the NBA, so these guys are 85, 88, 91, 93, 97, like, and so like, if you want to be anywhere, and again, yeah, I'm sure that if, he hits level 78, it gets more easy to get coins. You can probably bring yourself up to like 80, 81 over the course of maybe a quarter of a season, but it's brutal. It's brutal. I returned it. I sent it back and asked for my money back. I kept the $20 I spent on coins. I ate that, but I sent it back and was like, no, because at that point it's an unplayable game unless you sync. At that point, if you want to put the game out for free and then be like, if at this point you want to spend $60 on coins to bring yourself up to C level, the 70s or whatever, but like. For me, it was unplayable. Not to mention they have this when you're playing campaign mode, they have this like city, this NBA city that you can like go within.
Yeah,
it's a cool concept. Basically, you have a literal apartment that you can take your character to where you rest and you can do certain things. You can go to the gym. You can practice with other people. There's like an online area where you can just like, it's like a pickup game and you can go play with online. It's a really cool concept. It is, first of all, shoved to the brim with product placement. There's literally a like Jake from State Farm is in the game, and like you can go to the State Farm offices to be like, I need to insure my player, and they'll be like, hi, this is Jake from State Farm, and I just wanted to, and he's wearing the State Farm shirt. It's like I think a shirt you can get is like the State Farm shirt. There's like AT&T, like it's shoved in there, and that's in the city, not to mention obviously the ads that are on the actual game, because it's trying to simulate the experience of an actual basketball. So like, you know, this game brought to you by AT&T's blah 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 blah. And I'm like, so you're money hand over fist on product placement. You're taking money for the game itself. You're taking money for the NBA coins, which are practically essential for this game. And I was like, I felt so unwelcome by the game. Yeah. And I'm like, this is a franchise that I've 2K12, 2K14, and 2K16 were games that I put a lot of time in, because these games you run are anywhere from 15 to 40 minutes per game, and you're playing a whole NBA season. So like, it's a lot of time. And to just be like destroyed during that time and wrecked during that time, like, yeah, I was like, no, I have better things to do. But it's sad, because they're really the only basketball game on the market right now, and it was very bad. It was like completely behind a paywall.
Dude, it's like having a Yu-Gi-Oh game, like playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards with a buddy, where he's got a stacked deck and you have one Blue Eyes White Dragon and no monster cards to sacrifice to summon him. That's essentially what it sounds like.
The equivalent of playing against like a top tier Yu-Gi-Oh. It would, in context of the universe, it would be like dueling Yugi or Kaiba and being like, cool, we got you a deck full of like commons and nothing goes above like a 4-star.
Yeah. And
so it's like, you could win. It's not to say that you can't win with that.
Yeah.
But the odds of you winning are pretty bad. And more than likely, you're going to get wrecked. And it's like, and then you know how like at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh games, when you like win or lose, they're like, cool, here are some like duelist points to like buy new cards. If they're like, hey, because you got wrecked, you're going to get 4 Yu-Gi points or duel points. And you're like, well, you just put me up against the world champion with a shit deck. And they're like, you're like, is this going to get better? And they're like, no, everyone's going to have an amazing deck and you're going to keep having a shit deck. So just keep grinding. Or if you want, you can spend real money to buy cards for your deck. And you're like, all right, I've already given you $60 for this game, but here's $20. Get me the best cards you can. And they're like, here's one 5-star monster. And you're like, I spent $20. Like, I could get real world Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are better than this for $20. Yeah.
It's crazy that guy spent that much money. That's the nuts.
Yeah, I posted on Reddit about it because I wanted to see. Because here's the thing, I was like, am I on hard mode right now? Like, I'm getting destroyed right now. Clearly, I'm on hard mode. And I opened it up, and it was like difficulty level NBA Superstar, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a hard mode. Nope, that was easy mode. I was on easy mode. Wow. It's like NBA Superstar, NBA Champion, NBA All-Star are like the levels or whatever. And I was just getting wrecked. And here's the thing. I'm sure that there are people who will listen to this podcast and be like, no, I play NBA every year. It's actually pretty easy if you have the like things down and you know the tricks and you know all that. But that's not the point. The point is you're supposed to, every game you play should bring in a new audience, not push out an old audience. Like, I'm somebody who dabbled in the NBA franchise, the 2K franchise.
Yeah.
It should just have been, it should have been like, hey, welcome to the game, here's some cool things. And it was definitely one of those games that felt like, welcome back. And I was like, I guess, but I haven't been here in like 6 years. And they're like, cool, we'll give you some basic tutorials, but also as you're getting those tutorials, that's how they judge you on how well your like stats will do. So you have to like learn on the fly. And if you don't, if you like fail at the like tutorial stuff, it's like not a huge deal, but they're like, but also you get drafted to a worse team. And it's like, so if I'm failing the tutorial, I'm gonna do worse. It would be like learning how to do the SATs while taking the SATs. And it's like, you could be fine. You might be okay, and you might go to a good college. But if you have bad comprehension, like somebody with ADD, then you're going to do bad. and then you're going to end on a bad team, which is going to get you less NBA coins, which is going to make it even harder to get your player better. And it's like, it's not like I was on, like, I don't know, pick a successful team, the Lakers, and it was like, oh, they're winning without me, you know, they don't really need me. They're like, no, we're going to send you to some, like, bottom of the rankings team who is, okay, cool, your team lost and you did terrible, so you get 6 NBA coins. And you're like, what can I buy with that? And they're like, you can't even buy 0.5% with that.
Yeah. That's like, so I just don't dabble with NBA because I don't follow NBA. I want to follow it, but I don't know. I know that game's super hard. That's why I don't really play it. And what got me into really playing F1 was watching the show on Netflix, the documentary Drive to Survive. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's great. But also the game itself, it has a difficulty mode to where, like, if you love racing games, give F1 a chance. It's a great racing game because you can play people online or play the story mode, which gets you you can really get into loving the character. But say you wanted to get more competitive. Okay. You just increase. There's no point system. There's no, like, skills that you have to learn other than, like, obviously knowing the concept of how the car brakes and handles and, like, the track. And as you increase your level, like, from easy to difficult to, like, hard, they take away game mechanics, like assists for you, like braking assists, turning assists. You have to, you actually have to manually shift and downshift the car for yourself. You have to know what line to use, like what line on the track to travel to
it just kind of
that
takes
corner.
The training wheels off.
Pretty much. And if you get good at, like, if you actually pay attention on, like, easy mode, or, like, say, like I did, like, medium, where, like, maybe the braking assist isn't as helpful or steering assist isn't helpful, but you start building the skill set of, like, learning how to drive the car and how to drive the tracks, you can go on hard mode and pro mode. And not saying that it's easy, but you develop those skills, and it does make it enjoyable. Rather than, like, you're playing the NBA game and you're getting wrecked and you're like, oh, well, okay, I guess this is the experience. And, like, well, you only get 4 points and you can't build up to another level. You're like, well, how am I going to get good? They're like, I don't know. Just get good at it.
You could throw money at it until you're better at it. Which is the problem, is that this is why, like, the internet tends to hate, like, EA and 2K and stuff like that. Games where it's like, if you want to be successful at our game, if you want a normal mode out of your game, you have to throw money at it. And it's like, but I've already paid money for this game, and they're like, that's not our problem. We can milk you for more, because they've learned the, like, mobile game strategy of, like, pay to play, essentially. It's like it is a barely functioning game if you're not throwing money at it, which is not the point. I could go buy Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm at this point, because I know everyone likes keeping up with my Hogwarts Legacy, I'm 92 hours into my first playthrough because I'm map sweeping. I've beaten everything, but I'm going through, and it's like, that's 92 hours of gameplay, and I have dropped not a single cent extra. Now, I did pay for the deluxe edition, but that didn't really get me much other than, like, a cool mount and early access to the game. I just don't see the point.
Let's talk about that real quick, and we'll make it quick because we're short on time. But you know, what has happened with these game companies where, like, they thinking that they're not made? I guess they're just getting greedy at this point, where they're not just, hey, we're all going to pay $60 for the game or $70 for the game, where because Call of Duty does this too. Because I used to be a heavy online Call of Duty player, and recently playing online and stuff like that, I've noticed in the past, I'd say, decade, where you can grind and work your way up to get certain guns, skins, and everything like you used to in the game. Like certain number of headshots or certain number of crouches or launchers would get you
doing
this skin,
well in the game rewards you with something else.
Where rather now you can literally pay for points, and you can get this specific gun or this skin or these type of bullets or these things. You can, like, I get it. It's creative. You can make it custom to you and your personality.
Sure.
But I don't know. I don't like that aspect of me having to pay for something to get it. It doesn't give me that nostalgic feeling of me earning it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so I think it's a combination of a variety of things. First of all, I think that, and this might be a hot take, I think video games are too cheap for what they are. I think the problem is that video games should vary in price based on the video game. I think that that bar of $60 generally for a game is off. Because it would be like saying, oh, you want to buy food? Food costs $20 for food. And you're like, okay. But then sometimes when you buy that food, that $20, you're getting Thanksgiving feast. I mean, turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, imagine a huge spread. And then sometimes for that $20, you get a side of fries.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like,
and so like, especially like Call of Duty. And look, I know you were just saying you were doing the campaign mode, but games like that, shooter games, Call of Duty, Destiny, I don't know, I don't follow shooters much anymore, but those games should just be online only, and they should cost $30. Then, when you want to charge for extra, $10 for all the extra skins, $4 for extra maps, $5 for new weapons, then at least I'm like, well, I paid $30 for this game, so I'm cool with sinking the extra money in. Get rid of the campaign, save the developers time and effort on that, because 80% of your audience is not playing the campaign; they're just playing for online.
Yeah.
And then if you want to do a DLC that is like the campaign for $30 or $20, then cool. Then you can play the campaign. Because then you're getting a full, well-rounded $60. A game like Hogwarts Legacy, I would feel more comfortable, or I would be okay with paying $80 to $90 for that game, because I'm getting 90 hours worth of content, solo content out of that. I didn't have to pay for extra skins. I'm getting hundreds of outfits. I mean, for those who haven't played, there's gloves, scarves, hats, outfits, cloaks, wand handles, different kinds of mounts. All of those things have like dozens, if not hundreds, of like, hey, here's a different glove. Hey, here's a different outfit. Hey, here's a different hat. Hey, here's a different scarf. And it's like all different designs. I didn't have to pay for any of that shit. It just was part of the game, which is how I like it. I just put it all in the game. And the thing is, there's certainly going to be DLC for this game. They're going to the map that is available on this game is maybe 60% of the available map on the game. They're going to push it out. They're going to add stuff. They're going to add I'm guessing. I can't say for sure, but almost certainly they're going to add DLC. Cool. I will then pay for more of the game at that point. It's when you have a big, thick, chunky game, I'm fine with buying more things for that game, because it is when you used to play Super Smash Bros, you would unlock characters by doing things, by I killed this many people, or I played for this long, or I did so many rounds of this new character approaches, you fight your character. Now it's just like, here's DLC. Now, Smash is a bad example because I'm pretty sure you don't have to pay for those. Maybe you do. I don't remember. I'm not a huge Super Smasher. Usually my friends just bring it over to me. But the point being that back in the day, we are old men now, Shane.
Yeah, I know.
Back in the day, you just had the game, and you just unlocked cool stuff by playing the game.
Yeah.
And now there's this, not everywhere, but this is why I think the price needs to vary, because I would rather pay more for a game like Hogwarts Legacy and be like, look, this is a big, meaty, this is going to be 90 hours, 100 hours of good, solid gameplay. I'll pay more for that, because I understand that you could have charged me $60 and then $10 for this new outfit set and $20 for this new mount set, and oh, you want to get your character level up, oh, you want to learn a new spell, well, you can buy these spells for $5. They could have taken that route, and it would have made them gobs of money without question. So I would rather just pay you more up front for that, and then pay the people who are going to charge for the nickel and dime bullshit, charge me less. Pay me make it $30, $20 for this game. And then if you want to nickel and dime me over and over and over like a mobile, the reason the mobile game money thing is successful, in my opinion, Because the problem is regular game developers are like, oh, mobile games are a massive, like, billion-dollar industry. How do we get that money? The difference is that most mobile games are free. And even the more expensive mobile games are maybe $5 or $10 at the most. And then they charge you for, you know, it's like, oh, if you want to succeed here, you pay for this. You buy cards, you buy stat points, you buy whatever. That's the reason that's successful is because the entry level to that game is very cheap, if not free. When you're doing it on a $60 game, it feels disrespectful to your audience. And if it's because, hey, making games, you know, unless you cross this threshold of money, you're going to lose money on the game. I understand that. Raise the price on your game. If the cost of making your game cannot be recouped at $60 because you're putting so much time and effort and energy and funding and licensing into that game, then just charge me more for it. But nobody wants to be the first person to charge more, and nobody's going to charge less either. And the problem is that the video game franchise, it's kind of like movie tickets, but you're not getting the same movie out of it. You know, it's some movies are going to be a 15-minute runtime, and some movies are going to be a 3-hour masterpiece. And it's like, I guess technically that's a bad metaphor because all movies cost the same price too. But like, it's just one of those things to me that it's like, look, just charge me less if you're going to nickel and dime me, or charge me more if you're not. And as an adult, I'll respect it.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate though. What if, to you, Hogwarts Legacy is worth the $90, but to some other people it isn't worth it? So how do you decipher through that?
Yeah, that's fair. And the problem with that, not to not answer your question, but the problem with that is that it is because at that point it would be the first game to be $90 or $80 or whatever it is, and that people would go, well, it's not worth that $90 to me. And it's like, okay, well, that's fair. If it's not worth it to you, then don't pay it. It's like the Elden Ring thing. If it's not my cup of tea, I'm not going to pay it. I understand that can maybe drive some of your audience away, but I don't know. I understand that the cost of games and creation, the cost of games creation and all of that stuff, it goes up. It's gone up over time. Everything, inflation is going up.
Yep.
All that bullshit. It's corporate manipulated inflation, but it's inflation nonetheless. I don't know. I can't fix the whole thing, but I personally believe that there should be different tiers of cost for games.
Sure.
I think that there's...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, certainly no reason that a Call of Duty, which is a remake of the old Call of Duty, that is mostly being played online, should cost the same thing as Skyrim, which is 180 hours worth of gameplay, 6 DLCs, and all that stuff. It's just not the same. It's just not.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I totally get it. If I guess for me, playing Call of Duty with the story mode, if the game does have a great story mode, then yeah, I can see charging $60. Or if you're mainly playing, like they could do it two different ways. If you're mainly buying Call of Duty to play online, then just charge me for the online access.
Yeah.
And then if you want to play mainly just story mode, then charge me just for the story. And then if you want both, then you can pay the deluxe edition, have both.
Yeah.
You
have
know,
the base edition of Call of Duty be just the online play for $30. And then if you want the campaign mode, it'll just be like, hey, people who bought that. I mean, at this point, every system, whether you're on Steam or, you know, the Microsoft Store or the PlayStation Store, they all have like if you want to buy this, you might also want to buy this. Oh, you're buying this, do you want to also buy the DLC for this? Sell Call of Duty as an online-only game. You hop in, you're playing online, and then if you want the campaign mode, you can also buy for $30, which totals to $60.
Yep.
You know, but the fact that they do that, and then they also, you're like, oh, well, you also have to pay to play online. You have to pay for the. I mean, I don't know. Do they still do that? I don't play shooters nearly enough. Online, like you have to have like Live? A Microsoft, like Xbox Live.
Yeah, you still have Xbox Live. You still have to have a PSN Plus account.
Yeah. So like you have to pay to have the online, you have to pay to have the game, and then so really you're totaling at that point closer to $75-$80 for the game, which like it just doesn't feel like the same, you know? I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, let's say this. Okay, if there's one thing you could take away from this podcast today is don't feel bad playing on easy mode. Play
on easy mode.
If you want to enjoy a game, and
if you are a hard mode player and you enjoy that frustration if you just don't get frustrated like that, then God bless. But if you're somebody who's playing because everyone around you says that you should play on hard mode, or you've always been taught to play on hard mode, or you're a little bitch if you don't play on hard mode, just drop it down to easy. See if you enjoy it. See if there's less stress. And honestly, to me, that is the benchmark of a good game, is can you keep my attention throughout the game when I'm playing on easy mode? Because if you can't, then the game's probably not that great. Now, there are obviously exceptions, like we talked about the Souls games and everything, but if you're only keeping my attention through the difficulty of the game itself, then like that's just not for me.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not for you.
Yep. So just take that. Take it how you want. We may not agree with us. You may agree with us. Who knows? You might have a different light with it now. But other than that, I think we can wrap it up there. It was a good little rant. So every episode of the podcast comes out on Tuesday. So look out on Tuesdays for the podcast. We have gotten to episode 12 now. So there's plenty for you to watch, or plenty for you to listen. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
YouTube,
all the socials.
The social medias.
All
TikTok
the social medias.
While it's still alive.
Yeah. Go on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, like, comment on the videos.
Yeah, and if this is your first episode, welcome. Go back and listen to our other stuff. You might like it. If you like this, you'll like the other stuff too.
Exactly. But as always, stay nerdy, my friends.
And may all your nerdy checks roll high.
Roll high.